Alrighty, welcome back. Welcome back. Once again, Self-Flats 2021. We've got something really special here. We've got the Celeste three-way speedrun between Mileve, NickFury, and Nickography. All local Alberta streamers. They're all actually live right now. You can check them out anytime and give them some love. I'll put their information in the chat here. But why don't we get them introduced here? You know me, but let's start with Mileve. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Mileve. I do a lot of things. I'm a good person at video games. I used to play a lot of ARMS. I'm taking a break from that right now. I've traveled to Japan to compete in that game. These days I kind of just play whatever the mood strikes, which seems to be a lot of roguelikes. I'm just a girl that likes to play video games.
Awesome. Thanks, Mileve. NickFury, who are you?
Well, I'll start it off by saying I'm Nick, or NickFury, as most people call me. I've been around the Alberta Smash scene for a while. I'm a Smash player normally, but I got into speedrunning like probably 2 years ago on Celeste, so it's a really fun game. So mainly I stream Smash Ultimate and Celeste for the most part, but for the main part, or the main course is usually Smash, but speedrunning is on the side. It's like one of my favorite things to do right now, currently, and that's about it for now.
Awesome. And lastly, Nickography.
Hello. I know a lot of you folks in chat probably know me as NDS. I was a Smasher in Alberta for a long time, but now I wear the badge of retired Smasher for the sake of my hands. Lately, I've been live streaming a lot of ranked Apex and Celeste and just difficult platformers. That's my jam.
I love the retired Smasher playing another technically accurate game with lots of button pressing.
Yes.
Perfect. So before we get into this, I just want to let you know we're going to be following mostly Nickography here for audio purposes. They're going to be helping me out with a lot of the terminology and making sure that you know what's going on. But of course, we'll check in with Mileve and NickFury along the way. Sorry, what was that?
Sorry, I thought I was muted.
Oh, it's all good. All right. So, you know what? We can honestly go right into the countdown, get this going. It's a bit of a longer speed run. We've got time. We've got to sneak it in here. So I'll hit you all with the countdown, and as soon as I hit 0, you're good to go. So we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And a reminder just to deafen yourself when needed if you don't want to hear me. Perfect.
Oh, Brad, what do you know about Celeste?
What do I know about Celeste? I know that Celeste is a game that's very similar to Towerfall. It's a game that I very much enjoy. I think the design behind it is phenomenal, and I really do think anyone who might be interested should give it a shot. Should honestly give it a good go. For the most part, it is a very movement-intensive game with a lot of physics, tricks. What do you know about Celeste, Nick? You want to tell me the basics of what this run looks like?
So you're going to see us doing a lot of fancy techniques because the actual movement of this game is 5,000 lines of code.
5,000. Incredible.
Yeah. And I think the great appeal of it is that it's very accessible. You can do these fancy things, but you can also just walk around and climb and have a chill time and listen to the great music. It's actually composed by Lena Rain, and she did a really good job. This soundtrack is beloved by many.
Absolutely, and I noticed you're passing by this little strawberry thing. So my understanding is this is an any % run, but what's going on there? What are those?
They're collectibles. There's about 203 in the game, and some of them are only for speedrunners to get because they're just so obnoxiously hard. Oh.
They're the kind of thing that challenge a player and let them test their skills, I understand.
Absolutely. There might be times where there's a little bit of delay because my brain's trying to keep up with the game and talk with you.
That's okay. I can fill in the gaps of air. You're good. You just focus on the run. But I'm loving to see, like, it's almost blisteringly fast how this is going by. For anyone unfamiliar with Celeste, it really is a game that goes by really fast. You're traveling room to room. You've got your left and right. You can grab onto the walls. You've got you've got a dash, and you've got well, you only get one air dash, I should say. Yeah, and there's little triangles you see in the air, or should I say squares, diamonds, that you can collect to get your jump back. You're going to see a lot of different instances where they're going to use their momentum to try to get as far as possible, and sometimes even skip those things entirely. Can you name me some of the core techniques you're going to be using here?
So, I think we could start even like before the dash. When you're moving around, most people who are speedrunning have 2 jump buttons mapped, because you want to be able to mash jump quickly and also be able to hit very kind of particular jumps off corners. So that's a fun tech. In terms of the dash, we actually use the same terminology as smash. So if I do a dash into the ground and jump, I get a lot of speed. And we call that a wave dash. Which is convenient and relatable.
Yeah. So I noticed you're skipping a lot of areas, like you're skipping, intended lifts or sections. Is it typical to completely ignore the mechanics of any given screen?
Yeah. In general, your goal is to get through the screen as fast as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be, as much as possible, kind of skipping intentional routes. But the beauty of this game is that the dev was smart enough to make the routes all intentional.
Well, it's clearly they've got speedruns on the mind, right? And I see you're dashing through these space blocks that appear to be in between you. How do they work?
We've introduced a mechanic called dream blocks. Basically, they refresh your jump when you go through them, and all of the techniques that you do when you're going through them. Sorry, this is a very intense chase sequence. So
absolutely. So this chase sequence, you've got what is sort of a copy of yourself here, following your exact movement.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful in each of these rooms as they do exactly as you do.
So I don't remember her real name, but this character's name is Madeline, and that ghost name we just call her Badeline because that's easy to remember.
There you go. And yeah, you'll notice that there's even some extra copies of Madeline here. Or Badeline, I should say.
So the dream blocks, when you go through them, you're grounded for a frame after you come out of them, so you can do a lot of speed tech. So I'm actually jumping as I go out of them, and it's letting me keep my dash and fly out of them.
So there's a lot of momentum conservation in this run, from what I'm understanding.
There's there's a feature that they discovered with the diagonal down, in that it doesn't have momentum loss. So there's lots of ways to, if you are dashing diagonal down right, then you don't lose that momentum. And there are custom maps out there where you can chain those together for so long that you start to clip through things. A lot of wild things in the Celeste modding community for that.
Absolutely, and I'm seeing we're starting to get through like kind of the chapter there, and those dream blocks happen. But I know a little bit of Celeste, so I know. It seems like each chapter kind of has a theme, So if that was dream blocks, what do we got coming up next?
Funky red spikes.
Funky red spikes. All right, that's a great way to describe them.
This hotel is haunted by a ghost. Not to spoil the game for anybody watching.
But basically, you just don't want to touch them. They're just like spikes. They're a little bit strange, but
the same way.
Yeah, there's some interesting properties where there's certain platforms where you'll touch and then they'll come out afterwards. So you can only touch them once. And you'll find again a lot of different skips to go through sections and avoid them entirely.
So the cycle in this room that I tried to go for is actually so tight. I'm pretty sure it's like I don't remember the frames, but so tight that I had to give up on it.
And not to dissuade you, but I actually think one of the other competitors may have hit it.
Lovely.
Yeah.
I know. NickFury is quite the expert. I think he has a 40-minute speedrun in this.
Very competent runs. Certainly, NickFury is the sort of the top seed, if you will. The expected has the best time out of all the runners. But you never know with a live speedrun. You don't get the option to reset. So there's a lot of things that can go wrong in a long run like this that can really affect your time. So now we are clearing out this, this sort of haunted building here.
Oh.
And you know, these little blue triggers in a room, you have to make sure you hit all of them to unlock the door. And so, as you can see, sometimes you're limited in the number of things you can touch or go through. So it's difficult. You have to plan out your attack. Naturally, I assume you have every route already pre-planned before you go into a room at this point. But as
You'd think that, but for me personally, I'm a casual speedrunner. I like the movement and I love exploring the custom maps. Definitely not as well rehearsed in this particular category as the other folks, but it's just so fun. Can't help myself.
It's a great game, honestly. I came from playing a lot of Towerfall, and there's only subtle differences between the games, but of another great game with great movement. And what you were talking about with the wave dashing and the diagonal movements, something I really liked about Towerfall was if you were holding down and hit dash, it would scoot you forward. And I know that they modified that a little bit in the Celeste to allow for that extra speed to be gained without loss. Ooh, nice.
Something to know about the spikes in this game is that they only go in one direction. So if you're moving 3 spikes in the direction they're pointing, they don't exist to you.
That's
so you can actually jump off of spike walls in a lot of places.
I'm assuming you're going to use that many times throughout the run.
Absolutely. It lets you, like the dev puts some spikes there to keep you out and you just jump off them.
I like that they haven't appeared to be looking to get that patched out either. Like that's really awesome that they keep those kind of things.
Oh yeah. Even the game having a built-in speedrun timer in the top right there, that's like provided by the dev.
Yeah, you notice that helps us out because we don't need to worry about timing because the game does it for us. So you know,
absolutely.
You may be used to speedruns having a live split on there, but we got that covered.
And I know a lot of folks that speedrun this don't even use a live split timer.
No, I mean if the game's got you covered, you don't need to. And you'll notice there is, you'll see each of the competitors in a slightly different spot here, but those timers are going to be the end all, the end of the day. So there's a few seconds difference between them. So if we get down to the finale, you may end up seeing a slight difference. It could be that neck and neck. See, now it appears to be like you're in some kind of laundry room.
Yeah, this is the laundry room of the hotel.
Now, I've never seen a game with a haunted laundry room before. I feel like that's almost in poor taste. I would hate to be afraid of my laundry room.
Basically, it's well put. A lot of the themes in this game are about folks dealing with like anxiety or loss, and like the ghost being like my character's insecurities. This ghost like not leaving behind his hotel, even though he clearly is not keeping in the best of sorts.
I mean,
and it's kind of a journey through those things throughout the whole game. Kind of nice.
Well, absolutely. I mean, just keeping my own room clean can sometimes be a challenge, so I certainly don't blame them. And I mean, all in all, I think that it's a good story. Again, having only never completed the game, I struggled with Chapter 4. I found that the story was quite good so far. Naturally, we're not going to be seeing much of it today, but
here's a fun moment. This is a glitch where I'll do it and then I'll explain it. There we go. So if you do a crouch jump in the air, you are 4 pixels tall, and there's a gap in that spike wall I jumped through that is 4 pixels. But the input for it is excessively hard, so they let us use macros to do it. So that was a macro of 3 different inputs to get through that hole in the wall.
See, the idea of a developer supporting speedrunners to make tricks easier if they want it to be is really exciting. I think that's a really positive thing.
So I think technically it's like possible in-game with keyboard, but with controller I have to use a third-party app to get that all working.
See, and I've watched a number of speedruns where the players have to plug in a different controller for the end of the speedrun. You know, it's actually not uncommon for even Super Mario 64 these days to have the players swap two controllers for Bowser spins. And I think that's like, you know, such a common thing that you have to do 3 times in the run. I don't know if I don't know if that's something that I wish we could patch out. Obviously, that game not getting patched anytime soon, but
I'm gonna be focusing because this is a particular problem spot for me in this game. I always find this level quite hard.
I believe in you.
Oh my gosh. And the rooms, they're just so long too. That's the struggle. So at this point in the story, our worst self, Battling, was very rude to the hotel owner, and now he's quite upset with us. Oh my god.
Here, you stay focused. We'll give you a moment of silence here.
Okay, for sure. There we go.
All right. Not bad, not bad. So how many chapters are there? Like, you know, this we just finished chapter 2, or chapter 3?
Yes, that was chapter 3.
Chapter 3. How many chapters are there in this game? How can we measure how close we are to finished?
So we're going to be going to chapter 7. There is 8 and 9 provided by the dev, and then of course all the modded content, which kind of expands on that. Pretty sure chapter 9 was added as a DLC, free DLC by these lovely developers.
So is that going to be part of this run then?
Oh no, it's much too hard. There's the people who are able to beat it, few. People who can beat it without dying, fewer. And the people who can beat it in like a speedrun sense, I only know a couple of those.
Fair enough. So what are these orb things we're dealing with here? This is another new mechanic.
Yeah, so we've been given bubbles and clouds. The bubbles will shoot you out in a direction after a few moments, and one of the speed techs for them is that if you hit dash, you leave the bubble early.
Okay, so you can kind of use that to get out of the motion of it a little early, get some extra distance, and
yeah.
I'm assuming the way it interacts with walls and things will change slightly as well.
Basically, you coming out of it is once you're out of it, you're back to your regular old self. Here's another spike jump coming up here. So I get up here and then jump off those blue spikes, and I'm up into the next area, having skipped a bunch. And same here. I can do wall bounces, so when you jump out of a dash, you bounce off walls.
Wow. So, just skipping, yeah, entire segments there. That's convenient, to say the least.
Yeah.
Well, and for those who aren't noticing, there's also a degree of wind in this area. So on all the areas with those wind streaks, I'm assuming it's going to be pushing you in that direction whenever you're airborne.
Absolutely. And it's when you're in your dash, you have kind of the ability to skip past the wind and keep your momentum. But as soon as you exit your like dash state, you become vulnerable to the wind, and you're just stopping your tracks. So I know for a lot of people, this is their least favorite because for a game about movement, restricting your movement feels not so great.
Fair.
But
I'm sure when you get the wind with you, though. I was gonna say when you get the wind with you, I'm sure it feels great.
Oh, it's you're going fast, but it's still it's quite scary because you're flinging yourself towards spikes, as you saw.
We're seeing nobody is immune to the having to reset some rooms too. Thankfully, it seems like you
absolutely.
can you can reset rooms pretty quickly. It looks like just through the menus there.
So conveniently, the shortcut to do that 4-pixel thing is actually the same shortcut to restart the stage.
Oh,
So we set up a macro that does that pixel gap thing and also lets us jump to the next room or reset if we're about to die.
Oh.
So rather than waiting for the death, we I'm gonna try strat here actually. So I'm gonna do an ultra onto this block. Oh, I missed it. So basically, I would do an ultra jump off that block, and then I would do a crouch jump over top of that spiky thing, and it would carry me over top the spikes and into the next area of the room. But it's absurdly tight. So I guess I'm just gonna go for a ride. The safer strat.
Hey, safe strats are always good for a marathon, all right? There's nothing wrong with that. Looks like we got a B side unlocked on one side.
Yeah. So there is for the really good runners, they will play the B side of the next map, which I am not yet at. That's because it's quicker. It has a glitch that lets you do it, I think, 20 seconds faster than the A side.
That certainly is a great, yeah, if you're going to be doing a speed run, you want to be looking for the fastest method, right? And actually, someone in chat brings up a great question. I mean, Celeste, as far as I know, let's see, is it set in Canada? Do we know that?
I don't know. I know there were Canadians involved with this game.
Yeah, I know that. So Canadian game devs for sure. There is some amount of them. I'll see if I can get an answer on that. I actually don't know the answer to that question, to be honest.
Yeah.
It sure does seem like a Canadian game, though, with all the mountains. That's a very common thing for sure.
Yeah, that's one thing we do know here in Alberta.
We know our Rockies. So these snowballs, what are they? Or they would appear to be snowballs when they launch at you. Like, what's happening there?
You can bounce off them, they reset your jump, and they also will boop you in the face. Just, little nice boops.
Well, if it was a cat, it would be a great thing. If it's a snowball, maybe not, you know?
As you can tell, my other two folks that I'm racing with opted not to be on the mic live because this game is stressful. It's fast. I haven't had a time to look at chat once. Hey chat, how's it going? Little gap between stages, the timer stops, you talk to people. It makes it a very chill game to stream. You don't have to worry about your timer in between stages.
Yeah, and that's kind of the neat thing, right? You typically wouldn't have to stress over the marathon. We've put you into a kind of a special scenario here with added stress, just for fun. But it is quite cool to see the different types of the different strategies each runner can employ. I'm sure we'll hear from Mileve and NickFury at the end once the runs are over to talk about how it went. But we'll let them focus because, as you can tell from watching, it's a tight race. There's a lot. There's a lot of effort that goes into it. Yeah, there's a lot of effort that goes into it.
So since they're showing you the B side, or one of them must have, I'm going to show you the A side of this level.
Okay, so we're gonna get a slightly different view.
Yeah.
In this stage, that's awesome.
So the B sides and C sides are basically the extra difficult variation. And actually, I'm gonna yeet myself here.
Cool. So I'm getting the gist that these platforms move when you dash.
Yes. So you can. So for example, I'll just show you here. So I can hold on to it, and if I jump off and hold the other direction, you get a momentum boost that gets imparted to you from the block. Which is really nice.
Absolutely. Well, especially because again, momentum is the most important thing I'm gathering in this game, and when you're limited in such a sense that you're having to retain momentum and screen across screen for what is nearly an hour.
It's quite long.
It is a very grueling speedrun, so anything that can assist you in getting that momentum with a little less effort is a great thing.
There's a fun technique I'll point out. that helps when if you're climbing a wall and you miscalculate, you use too much stamina. You can neutral jump, which means you have to jump off the wall while not pressing any directions, and then it doesn't use any stamina. So in that scenario, you'd be able to recover without having to spend any stamina. So this is I think a big reason why people choose not to do the A side, because there's cutscenes. Like right now, I'm playing a nightmare beast, and I'm trying to kill myself. This is the introduction to the enemy. They teach you about the enemy by letting you play the enemy. And then they go, okay, here you are. Now go into the level and experience those things in the game.
See, that's a really cool way, and especially it creates that sense of pressure, you know, that you're doing, you know, you now know the enemy and what it's trying to do to you, you know.
I like it a lot.
Just a neat way, like, of educating you about what you've got going on, you know.
Something I think there's a kind of a funny thing is that you will respawn quicker after a death if you mash A.
Oh.
So if you're frustrated, they're like, okay, you can get back in there, coach. It's all right.
Interesting. Was that is that something they added later on, or was that always in there?
Pretty sure it's because they're programmed as cutscenes, and so you just press A and it skips the cutscene.
I see. I see.
You know, so this stage has a lot more RNG to deal with. Essentially, you're worrying about these beasts a little more often. In the other one, it's a lot more manageable. You can make plans that factor out their AI, but in this one, you're throwing yourself willy-nilly straight into the beasts, and there's a lot more door opening action.
Well, naturally, I mean.
And they can push the buttons for you. It's nice.
It's very helpful of them, you know.
Yeah.
Like anyone who opens a door for somebody is very charming, you know.
I don't know if we covered these red bubbles, but they just go in the same direction forever ever.
Oh, I see. So they just go on, and I imagine the puzzles are going to be based around that a little bit here. But is there a significance in the red spikes? Are they any different?
Red spikes. Nope. Spikes are spikes in this game. I want to be honest. I forgot the way to go. This might be the end for our hero here. Yep, that's not the way. Well, folks. Tragedy. How are the other runners doing? You know, catch me up.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Mileve is a little bit further into the same chapter, tossing an icicle friend.
I found the way.
I see. And NickFury appears to be like zooming ahead, playing with some bumpers in this green and purple area.
That is awesome. I'm glad he's doing well. I actually reconnected with him recently because I was starting to stream Celeste, and I was looking through the Celeste category, as you do when you like a game, and I was like, I know that guy. So support your local streamers, folks. They're it's always cool to catch up with people.
I'll throw it in chat, but there I've thrown the Twitch channels of all 3 streamers today in there, so that people can check them out on their own time, and absolutely give them a shout out. You know, they're all fantastic, very skilled players, and you're seeing some really cool Celeste gameplay here.
So now
certainly faster than I could ever finish this.
We've got Theo now. And Theo got himself into a predicament. He's sealed in a crystal of his own emotions. So, you know, sometimes you have those days.
I've definitely got the vibe of, like, you know, anxiety and emotions and conquering that mountain as Celeste seems to be showing.
Yeah, they do put it out there for you. It's not super hidden.
I think that's good, though. You know, those are very important things to talk about and make sure that you're you know, on top of taking care of yourself. Nice bounce there.
Yep, bonking him on the head. So you'll see I'm throwing him into the wall and then jumping or using him as a momentum booster.
Mm.
Give me the boost. Which is kind of fun. There are custom maps where you have to climb vertically with him for a long time.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that when you throw and then dash back in to catch him, it seems like it's quite complicated to go long distances with this guy.
For that one.
Maybe I stand mistaken.
So I use that momentum off of the platform there to boost through. Oh,
Yeah.
Whoa, I can't believe I live there. Theo got the defense for me.
Yeah, you can get the block in, you know. It's interesting how they choose to restrict some of your dashing, and force you to use it in certain ways based on your environment.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be better at not just dashing, and not just the mechanics, but also understanding when you can and can't use certain resources.
Oh, come on. Whoa.
And certainly they're putting a great deal of pressure on you in rooms like that.
We have reached the final hallway. Can finally leave this behind.
Leave Theo behind! How dare you!
We need to get him to the end so we can smash him into something. This giant eyeball. Bonk.
Ah, yes, a crystal clear allegory for anxiety, I'm sure.
And I hope folks are enjoying the contrast. So for me, I think my PB is maybe 50 or 55 minutes, and the range that you can get in this game, this world record is 30 minutes or sub 30. Maybe it's 27 now.
It's pretty quick.
So
I know that much.
NickFury is going to finish this game at least minimum 15 minutes ahead of me. So now we've introduced feathers. Feathers make you fly.
Wow, hey, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I once.
It's a Red Bull thing, isn't it?
Well, something like that. I remember I once tried to collect a bunch of feathers as a child, and I put them all together. I glued them at their root, or whatever you call them, stem, and I tried to flap them to see if I could get any air off the ground. You know, I really stitched together about 5 feathers from 4 from a magpie, 1 from a robin, and
nice.
stuck them all in one hand. And I didn't feel any lift, but I feel like perhaps it was a resource allocation issue. You know.
Yeah, you needed a few more.
A couple more would have done it for sure. I only weighed like 90 pounds.
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, we can hear NickFury chiming in. Not sure if he realizes we can hear him, but sounds like he's doing a really good run, as you would hear.
Imagine getting a PB on a marathon. I'm rooting for him. That's another thing about this game is the community is lovely. They're all lovely human beings. They're so polite. They're all very helpful. They all want you to like learn new fun, and they're open to all skill levels. So there are folks that like really aren't runners and still join in the community.
Well, that's the best part, right? Speedrunners in general and speedrun communities are usually very, very welcoming, and Celeste is no different. I do recommend. I mean, is there any good? I can definitely ask you this after the run, but are there any good resources people should be checking out for Celeste?
You're gonna want to check out the Celeste Discord,
so which we'll get a link for at the end of the run. I'm sure someone can help provide that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Something fun about this stage, those big blocks that kind of go row as I move on them. Their name is Kevin, because the voice actor who did that sound was named Kevin.
Oh, there you go.
It's not canon, but we do call them Kevins.
Well, they sound like every Kevin I know.
Yeah, I know a few Kevins. You're right.
And they all like picturesque image. You know, every Kevin I've ever met looks and sounds exactly like those blocks.
I don't know. That's pretty rude. The blockheads with.
Hey, what do you mean? I like those blocks. They're great. I got nothing against Kevin's or those blocks. You know, just saying.
So the cool thing with this level is that there's multiple routes. So I'm choosing the upper route. There's also like a whole different stage below this.
And is there one that's considered fully optimal over the other?
Yeah, one is just shorter.
I see.
So right now I'm trying to go underneath this Kevin, and it's not working out for me. So maybe I just move him out of the way.
Mm.
There we go. So even these, so for example, I'm bumping on these bumpers, right? If I were to hold a direction away from them when I hit them, you get a much more significant boost. There's so many minute details into every movement. So I can make the choice, do I want a short or a long bumper bump? And in the vanilla game, you have like a lot of opportunity to just like manage them however you want. But in custom maps, they will design it in a way where you have to do exactly what they want you to do. The exact right length of bumper bump, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So the custom maps can get way harder.
Certainly, they're being extra brutal almost on purpose. I'm sure.
Kevin's taking us downstairs. What's down here, Kevin? More spikes. Oh no. So there's like little shortcuts like that too, like a hole in the spikes. Casual player might not choose to thread the needle there, but speedrunners might. We might even do them twice.
Well, and certainly, would you say that Celeste is a game with many leaps of faith, as they might call them?
No, they'll pretty much always show you what you're gonna do.
See, I like that as a game design. I mean, certainly leaps of faith are controversial. Some people like them, some people don't. But I think it's really cool that almost every single information they give you is intentional.
Yeah. Shoutouts to TMNT for the SNES. I don't know if anybody got that vibe from that underwater spike area. Nightmares from my childhood.
Absolutely, those kinds of games, TMNT, Battletoads, all had those brutal underwater levels. I think it's almost a like a category of game itself to make your water levels.
Okay. You're gonna lose me on comms for a bit here. I'm in the boss fight, and
okay.
Not only is she blaring really loud music, she's also throwing projectiles at me.
If you need quiet, let me know.
No, it's okay. You say what you will.
So I love this. I love this fight sequence because it's not something you typically see in a game like a platformer. Because
absolutely, and really, it's just like a scripted fight. Like she will shoot lasers on a schedule, and you can bounce around the level. Generally, I'm getting to her faster than a casual player would, so she's not able to get her shots off, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's almost an instance where obviously the movement takes a lot of skill, but it's almost like it's easier for a speedrunner once you get to that level because you don't have to worry about some of the elements that come in later in the fight.
I think the difference being a speedrunner has higher standards for themselves.
Yes, it's a good way to put it.
See, a lot of this too, as like I'm an unpolished any percent runner, so I actually get to wing a lot of this. See, I'm gonna like bouncing around, just doing my own thing.
Yeah.
And that, for me, makes this game really satisfying.
Because the stages are built, and there's definitely a fastest method. I mean, certainly if you're watching the runs on either cam, you'll see slight differences, but also you'll see some really optimal play on each screen at some point. But what's neat is the slight differences in the ways people approach an area, the ways people zoom around, and the speed it even goes at is all slightly varied, and that can affect what you get out of your outcome. And that's really interesting. What makes like growing as a speedrunner through a game like Celeste really exciting. I think honestly, speedrunning as a science, as a type of thing to do, is really exciting because you can actually, like, as you learn and improve, you see different results in different types of runs. You see people going for tricks that are easier or harder as you start to learn frame perfect windows, as you start to perfect certain abilities within yourself. So you get to grow with the game, and you see that progress. Not like a fighting game where maybe you're trying to compete against an opponent, and for 3 years you and your rival are neck and neck, and you're both improving, but your results against each other are the same. One person still has the same win rate, whereas this you directly see your own results because you're competing against yourself in a sense.
Yeah, rough part of the speedrun here. These rooms can be quite long, right?
Mm-hmm.
So mistakes do add up. I think the best way for new runners to cut just like 30 minutes off the run is just to not die.
Fair enough. Yeah, if you can do deathless runs of a game like this, then you're saving a lot of time automatically.
Like
Certainly
even
every
if I took that
death
room
is-
quite slow, for example, I probably got a net gain than trying to be flashy.
Oh, exactly.
Oh,
Well, especially because when you die makes a big difference too. Because each death is maybe a second or two of actual time loss, but the travel that you've made is also lost in that moment. We're seeing.
see that I
Mileve-
did a really big bumper boost. What I was referring to earlier.
Yeah. When we're seeing Mileve and NickFury going through this climb section with all the mechanics starting to combine together.
He's already on summit,
Oh yeah, NickFury is zooming.
so I look forward to chatting with him very soon.
Yes, he
So
can come
now,
in and do commentary.
We've fixed that relationship. We had quite the fight there. Now I have 2 jumps. We have merged. That's the lore here. But
I
now,
see.
as you can imagine, more jumps equals more movement equals more thinking, and lots more button pushing.
Well, and that's it adds another element, right? Because before you were restricted in the air, and you were already doing so much, and now you're less restricted in the air, and I can't wait to see the different things that come up because of that.
Well, here we go. I'm chasing NickFury up that mountain. Oh, my game crashed.
Oh my.
Let's launch
That's
that
gonna-
up again.
Yeah, that's going to mess up our capture for a second, but don't worry, everybody. We're going to get that up in just one moment. It'll all correct itself. Don't panic. Don't panic. We are good. The runs are still going. We are fine.
Luckily, the game timer doesn't run when I'm not in it.
Yeah. Just make sure you remember to bring your stream back on once you got it up and running again.
Absolutely.
So checking in on Mileve and NickFury, it looks like they're both in that summit you were talking about.
The summit is one of my favorite places because, like any good, I think that's a tried and true game mechanic. Oh, I think my saves got reset.
Did they?
And that's a very weird glitch. I might be in the wrong. I'm gonna reboot. But it's very exciting as a level because it takes all of the concepts you've learned throughout the whole game so far. There we go. So I have
Hey.
I have a modded version of. No, we got a
So-
corruption. I got bumped ahead.
Okay, well, you know what? That's okay. We can,
I'll
if
just
you want to
restart the
just...
start of the chapter. There we go.
You
I
restart
won't
the
have
start of the chapter. That's where you were, right?
Is this where you? No. Anywho,
Well, worst case, what we can do is we could bring you on to do commentary of the rest of the run here. Just keep your screen share going if you could for the shape of the stream here.
sure. We'll get that open. Interesting. I have to debug my game. Starting that level crashed it.
Yeah, if you want to just pull it up, we'll leave it on the main menu there, so we can have the stream aligned properly. Oh, it looks like we might be switching to a 2-panel here. Our production guy is taking care of it. Not a problem. But Nickography here, if you want to do some commentary, check it. Let's check in on the other runners here. We haven't talked about them much.
Absolutely. I'm curious what techniques Nick's going to be doing because he knows the fancy ones.
Certainly, I mean the type of play that we've been seeing out of these players, we haven't really been focusing on them, but now we get a great chance to at the end of the runs here.
The layout, I am sharing my screen again if that's easier.
Perfect. So we're gonna get audio for NickFury here, and we should have that should improve it. We should be good. All right. Perfect. Just took us a moment, but thank you for standing by, everyone. Nobody panic.
So you'll see instead of Battling trying to smash us with lasers, she is now throwing us up the mountain.
And How close would you say these two are at this point? They're both in this summit we're talking about.
You can very easily measure based on the. So the mountain is 3.5 kilometers, and then the top section has flags. So you see those flags are counting down. We're at 14 on NickFury's side, and Mileve is not at the flag portion yet. So Nick has quite the lead.
See, it looks like these spike sections are absolutely brutal. Just everywhere you got spikes, and with these limited dashes, constant airtime, it looks like you really have to conserve your options here, so you're not not using it all up. And I noticed Nick just bounced into a springer twice there. I'm sure that's not the intended method.
That room is kind of like a free for all. You just bounce around on the springs, do what you want. These ones are the jump usage is pretty just scripted, right? You have to get through the spikes in the right way. So the jumps pretty much the same through these series of flags. Skipping that one is not one I do. He's got lots of guts, so he just skipped the whole flag.
Wow, hey, that's cool stuff. Do we know what NickFury's PB is here? Do we know?
He was saying he got a 40-minute run, so that's impressive in and of itself. Sorry, this game is very popular as a run.
39-37. So he could hear us the whole time, it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Welcome.
perfect. Heck yeah, well, you're doing a phenomenal run here, Nick. It's incredible.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
Gosh.
Yeah, those are the sounds of speedrunning.
Yeah. If you have the mic off the whole time, you certainly hear a lot of. Again, in a non-marathon scenario, you see a lot of resets in a lot of games. Celeste, with a longer style, you won't see as many resets for sure, just because deaths are so quick. But certainly a long format run, you can get really, really far behind pretty easily. But Nick is really, really tight to his usual pace here. I believe she's going fast too.
Yeah. Both of them have some good Celeste talent.
So is that it, Nick? Is that it?
40?
Yeah,
Flat.
run's done. 40 flat.
Wow.
40 flat. Incredible.
Within 30 seconds of your PB, or 33
Yeah.
of your PB there.
My summit's a little rough. It's still my worst, but
Honestly, that is an incredible run, though. Let's see how Mileve handles it. Still a little bit left on Mileve's side, but not too far behind, honestly. If it wasn't for the unfortunate game crash, we would have had, I think, a really cool, one straight after another finale here.
Yeah, how was I doing? Well, was I keeping up, or was it a catch-up scenario?
You were a little bit behind, but not as far behind as you might think.
yeah.
I mean, you knew you were starting the summit, and you know where Mileve is now, so
Absolutely.
I think you might have been, maybe 30 seconds behind.
And Summit's my best. I zoomed through this one because it's just got so much fun movement that I like. So I think I broke my game because I have a bunch of modded stuff in my game and then corrupted the second save file, so it just didn't work when I got to Summit. Just shut off.
Hey, that happens. I mean, you could have used it to your advantage and certainly started halfway up the summit. Would have definitely caught up, no problem whatsoever.
Oh yeah, starting at 3,000 meters, just skipping a casual 3K walk.
Hey, I mean, it's kind of like watching Mileve go through the longest hike of their life, through spikes, through wind, through cold, through all sorts of springs. I certainly wouldn't want to do this in my own hikes, but the usual hike may go. I'm sure it happens to the best of us.
The funny thing about the core game that you've seen today is that I think for a lot of folks in the Celeste community, these chapters serve as the tutorial.
I see.
So not even all the mechanics have been introduced yet. Some of the mechanics are introduced in the prologue chapters, is 8 and 9, and then in the modded community, they know all the stuff.
Wow. I just want to highlight. We talked about the bumper when NickFury went through it and how he double bounced off of it to get his jump back and keep the momentum. and Mileve took a different approach, bouncing off of it, using both dashes to get over to the other side and jump back with a neutral jump. Yeah, very interesting stuff to see, again, the different approaches. And not, again, speed-wise, not significantly different, but just a different style of play.
Absolutely. And some people have favorite techniques that they'll prefer over the other, or when they've practiced a room, they'll do the room one way versus another. And it's just all, I think that's the have your little stylistic preferences.
Yeah, and we got through this summit in like 5 to 10 minutes here. How long do you think it would take a casual player to get through this? How long did it take on your first try?
So I started with a pretty good understanding of what I was getting into, and I was total lab junkie for Project M, and so I sat down and I just like looked up all the techniques, and I was like, okay. And then my first playthrough, I think my first speedrun took me an hour flat.
Wow.
Just because like I had played through so much hard content chilling in the game.
Fair enough.
But, to actually play it blind, I feel like took 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, my first summit was like 4 hours.
It's a tough area.
Casually.
Looks like Mileve up here. Mileve, let's see what the time
GG.
scores out to.
That's a good
GG.
time.
That is a good time, for sure.
43-39. All right, not bad at all. Let's see if we can get Mileve back in the chat here. We can do a little debrief and close it out. But very good runs, everybody. Very good runs. Let's swing Mileve back in here, and we'll let everybody do a little sign off. But what a great showing of Celeste ability here.
This cutscene at the end. Oh no. Okay, this is the funny part. So because we collected so few strawberries, the pie at the end kind of sucks, and Grandma is totally shading you.
And you'll see Mileve went ahead and collected 9 strawberries on purpose. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So great runs. I don't know if you saw the times, Mileve. I know you're back now.
Yeah, I'm back.
But unfortunately, Nickography had a game bug that prevented the run from finishing. But your 43-39 and NickFury's 40 flat were both incredible runs.
Yo.
And
Yeah.
I
I'm
only
like
had 60 deaths, so.
Only 60, not bad at all.
Yeah.
I got 69.
Nice.
Nice.
With that, I do want to make we got to get going to get ready for the next panel, but I want to give you guys both, or all 3 of you, the platform to make sure everyone knows where to find you. Where can they see more Splatoon, or not Splatoon? Where are they going to see more Celeste content?
You could if you follow me on Mileve, or if you search Planet Scrapstar, one or the other, you can you'll find me make posts or tweets about Celeste every once in a while, or I'll continue to do my own runs when I find the chance. But yeah, just those 2 areas are, if you search either Mileve or Planet Scrapstar, I'll probably be one of the first things.
Perfect. NickFury, where we find you?
So I typically don't post too much Celeste related stuff on Twitter. It's mostly just my Smash account, and that's about it. But I do stream. I try to stream Celeste once a week at least on NickFury SSB, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. And Nickography?
Find me at twitch.tv/Nickography. I'll be losing countless days to Valheim. I'm really enjoying it. I'm a Viking. That's my thing now.
Fair enough. And with that, we are going to close out, let you guys move on to the game show with actually myself and Victor. We'll see you in about 5-6 minutes here. Thanks so much again to Mileve, NickFury, and Nickography. Great runs.
Ciao.
Cheers.
All right.